After decades of limiting families to just one child, China has a new message for couples. Please have another baby. Why the change of heart? In short, China is aging and losing its working population. Although China changed its rules in 2016 to allow couples to have as many as 2 children, that hasn't convinced enough parents to have more than one. High living costs, long work hours, and surging childcare expenses means that many couples feel that they can only afford to have one child, or even none. On top of that, a study found that 33% of women had their pay cut after giving birth, and 36% were demoted.
If they want to reverse the demographic trends that they're currently facing, they will not only have to deal with the cost of having a child, they'll also be fighting against demographic and social trends in which people are having fewer and fewer children.
To counter that trend, the government is considering lifting all limits on the number of children a family can have. Otherwise, by 2040, 1/4 of the world's most populous country will be 65 or older, which threatens an economic boom that's been built on a vast labor supply.
Countries don't usually become great powers when they're old and graying. They become great powers when they're young and vigorous. And if Xi Jinping wants to complete that transition, he may need to build a younger country that can pull it off.
How did we get here? After the creation of the People's Republic of China in 1949, the government trained tens of thousands of, quote, barefoot doctors to bring healthcare to poor and rural areas. The result? Mortality rates plummeted and the population growth rate skyrocketed. By the 1970s, China was facing food and housing shortages. In 1979, its leader, Deng Xiaoping, decided to limit most couples to just one child. And it worked. The average births per woman dropped to less than 2. However, there was a social consequence to this. The traditional preference among Chinese parents for sons caused many parents to abort female fetuses. The imbalance grew to the point where there were 120 men for every 100 women. Over time, women became very picky about possible husbands. Some rural men began to buy wives from human traffickers. In early 2018, authorities rescued 17 Vietnamese women and arrested a gang of 60 traffickers who had been selling women in China. The change to allow 2 children was meant to fix the nation's demographic problems. But after an initial spike in the birth rate in 2016, the 2017 numbers didn't appear to be as large.
The indications are that people won't be rushing out to have kids. They may see a temporary bump in the number of children, but whether that will be a lasting change that will affect China's demographic trajectory seems very much in doubt.